Remember, we can take turns to read the shloka and go through the purport, the meaning, and then I'll expand more on that. So it's like a collaborative thing that we'll be doing. Okay? So the chapter that we are currently reading is called Dhyan Yoga. I'm a little bit curious about who is reading Gita here for the first time? You are. Okay. So, do you know anything about Bhagavad Gita?
I know that it has some teachings.
Some what?
Teachings about life. But
it's a yes. Of course, that's a very umbrella term. But so the Gita, basically, just to give very very quick, I'll touch base on this. That Gita is spoken because Arjun, one of the characters, he's very in dilemma whether he should take up this war or not, participate in this war or not, and then he give a lot of reasons not to fight this war. Then he surrenders to Lord Krishna, and then Krishna starts speaking Gita. Start giving him he touches, talks about 5 major points on it, like starts teaching him about what is his original position, like he's a soul, not a body, and how one should follow the principles of dharma, and fighting this war was at that particular time was a part of following the dharma, and that's why. So different, like it will be a lot if I go into detail because we have to do the reading session. But that's the touch base, and this is one of the topics that he will talk about, like what are the true qualities of yogi that he covers in this particular Dhyan Yoga. What is what happens if someone starts going onto this path of spirituality, trying to know oneself. What if he is able to reach that goal? What happens if he is not able to reach that goal? What happens, etc., etc. And then he finishes this chapter. Like it's a very important chapter from the Bhakti Yoga perspective. Okay. So, but I would really I can request that you can take a copy of Gita if you want. I think the temple, yes, he is the man, yes. So Prabhuji, you can, if you want a copy, you can take it for yourself, both of you. Highly recommended. What you can do is after the session, like you can reach out to him. It's just, it's €5. We just like charge the cover of, just to cover the cost of the shipping charges, So it's 5. And if you want to donate more, it's all up to you. But 5 is the minimum. So you can take a copy of it. Okay? Right, so we'll just delve in this. I think we did 40. Or is it 46.40 was, who was there here last? I think 41, yes. Right, so maybe I'll start and then what happened next, if anybody wants, you can read. Okay? Text 41. Prapte punyam kritam lokan ushitva shashvatet samaha shuchinam smritinam gehe yoga bhrashto bhijayate. Meaning, the unsuccessful yogi, after many years of enjoyment on the planets of the pious living entities, is born into a family of righteous people or into a family of rich aristocracy. Purport by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The unsuccessful yogis are divided into 2 classes. One is fallen after very little progress, and one is fallen after long practice of yoga. The yogi who falls after a short period of practice goes to the higher planets, where pious living entities are allowed to enter. After prolonged life there, one is sent back again to this planet to take birth in the family of righteous Brahman, Vaishnav, or of aristocratic merchants. The real purpose of yoga practice is to achieve the highest perfection of Krishna consciousness, as explained in the last verse of this chapter. But those who do not preserve to such an extent and who fail because of material allurements are allowed, by the grace of the Lord, to make full utilization of their material propensities. And after that, they are given opportunities to live prosperous lives in righteous or aristocratic families. Those who are born in such family may take advantage of the facilities or try to elevate themselves to full Krishna consciousness. Does somebody want to take 42 as well? Because those are kind of interconnected, and then I'll expand on that a bit. Do you want to read 42?
अथवा योगिनाम् इव कुले भवति दहि मातम् एतद् दहि दुर्बलतरं लोके यं जन्म यद् अधिश्रयम्.
Meaning? I am curious, what have you opened on your... If you cannot find something, feel free to like interrupt or say that, I don't know what you're doing or what you're reading. So if you can type like BG 6.42. Or for now, can you just lend the copy to her? Thank you.
If unsuccessful after long practice of yoga, he takes his birth in a family of transcendentalists who are surely great in wisdom. Certainly such a birth is rare in this world.
Perfect.
Birth in a family of yogis and transcendentalists, those with great wisdom, is praised herein because the child born in such a family receives a spiritual impetus from the very beginning of his life. It's especially the case in the Arya or Goswami families. Such families are very learned and devoted by tradition and training, and thus they become spiritual masters. In India, there are many such Acharya families, but they have now degenerated due to insufficient education and training. By the grace of the Lord, there are still families that foster transcendentalists generation after generation. It's certainly very fortunate to take birth in such family. Fortunately, both our spiritual master, Om Vishnupada Sri Sri Mat Bhakta
Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj,
Goswami Maharaja, and our humble self had the opportunity to take birth in such families. By the grace of the Lord, and both of us were trained in the devotional service of the Lord from the very beginning of our lives. Later on, we met by the order of the transcendental system.
Very good. Thank you very much, Mataji. So in this show, Krishna is talking about like those who have followed the path, who have devoted their life on this path of bhakti, and very ardently, and they have achieved the goal. Hurrah for them, But what happens to those who starts on this journey of self-realization, and after a while, maybe some people start trying to be on this journey, and then after a while they lose interest and they go back, leaving all the practices back into their day-to-day life. Some practice for a very prolonged period of time, but then after practicing for a prolonged period of time, they just, for some reason XYZ, they are not able to continue. So Arjun is basically inquiring about those yogis. What happens to them? And then Krishna is answering the question that he has asked. And he's telling that, so in 41, if you see in the shloka, and there it is written Shuchinam and Smritam. So Shuchi means pious and Shri means wealth. So what happened is that because of certain reason that they are not able to follow this path, continue on this path properly, and for some reason there is a downfall. So what happened? Because God is a very indulgent father. Krishna is a very indulgent father, and what happens? Whatever we desire, he gives the opportunity for us to fulfill. And one may question that, why unsuccessful yogi goes to the celestial abode? Why they go to the celestial abode? Because here Krishna is saying that if for some reason they wanted to, enjoy this world more and more, because of their desire, they are sent to the celestial abode to fulfill those desires, only to find out that, the real happiness doesn't exist there. And after a while, they are sent back on this earth into the family of pious people, or they take birth in the family of wealthy people. Okay, so Suchi means pious and Shri means wealth. So either they take birth in the family of very pious people, in the family where people are practicing Bhakti Yoga. People are very, very on this path, and then the environment that we get, it kinds of it shapes us basically. In the world also, if we see, we do not choose to be. We did not choose to be Indian, or we did not choose to become an American, and the national identity like that we have. Why is it? Why are we Indian? Why do we call ourselves Indian? I can call American myself. Or why don't we call ourselves that?
Identity of this false ego.
Because we
Identified false ego.
that's like a philosophical. But if I say you call yourself Irish, why would you say yourself Irish?
My birth.
Yes, because we take birth in a particular family, in a particular society, in a particular environment, that shapes us in a lot of ways, isn't it? That's correct, right? There are certain traditions that we follow. We don't know what is the meaning, but like we give this example that my family follows this tradition, or I see that this is done at a community level or society level. So I do this as well. Those are inherited qualities or inherited rituals, traditions that we follow. Why is it? Because we took birth in that particular region, and that shapes us. So if a person who was striving to become a yogi, and for some reason there was a downfall, he takes birth by the arrangement of the providence in a family which is pious. Why? Because he is getting that environment that since childhood there is this spiritual environment in whom he is able to do his bhakti. Correct? Lot of examples we have. We see little children taking birth into a family, and they know lot of shloka, lot of shloks they know, a lot of prayers they know, they do chanting. There's a sense of very sat in them. And nowadays, because of the social media, I think we see there are a lot of children are there. How do they know such thing? Because there is an environment, and also because there is a past karma. They performed some sort of bhakti, and spiritual awakening is there because they accumulated. Krishna says that even if you do a little bit, perform a little bit, chanting or anything on this path, what happens? It never perishes. It carries on with you. When we take birth, we have to start from the scratch. A, B, C, D, death, and then again it will rebirth. We have to learn everything from the scratch about this material knowledge, the knowledge that we get in this world. We do not come out of the womb of our mother and start speaking. There is a lot of learning, but there is a sense of like inherent qualities a soul possesses, and it is time and then reflected. You know that, oh my God, how does he's so small? How he or she knows about that? Because there is this um, spiritual karma that he did in the past, right? So Krishna is saying that those kind of soul take birth in a family who is very pious, or in the family where there is Shri, wealth. And one very great example is given here is about Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Swami Maharaj. That had the opportunity to take birth in such family, very, very wealthy family, but great philosopher, very ardent devotee of the Lord, gave a lot of teachings. So how did that happen? Because he didn't have to think about how he's going to sustain this body, how he's going to take care of a lot of things around him. Okay, so that kind of birth was there so that he can continue where he stopped. It's like so I covered that we do not choose our identities. It is why it happens based on our birth. It is a conditioning that we have. And Krishna arranges for such birth so that our bhakti continues. And one good example that we will talk about in the next show. So 43, do you want to read? You can, Malaji, what you can do is you can type and open it so that the reference is there for you. Yes, you can keep it. Do you have a copy of Gita?
Yeah, I have.
Sorry. Do you have a copy of Gita?
With me, no.
No, I'm talking about. You can also open and see what exactly are we reading. Are you going to sit here for some time, or you're leaving?
Few minutes.
Okay, then it's fine. Don't bother. No, not at all. All right. So you just type BG 46.43 and then you can see what we are reading. Okay. Do you want to read?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
The next one, right?
43. Yes.
Tatra tam buddhi samyogam labhate purva
Devika.
yatate cha tato bhuya samsiddhahu
Sansiddho.
Samsiddho Kuru Nandana.
Meaning?
What very okay. On taking such a birth, he revives the divine consciousness of his previous life, and he again tries to make further progress in order to achieve complete success, O son of Kuru. The purport is what?
Yes.
King Bharata, who took his third birth in the family of a good Brahmana, is an example of good birth for the revival of previous transcendental consciousness. Transcendental consciousness. King Bharata was the emperor of the world, and since his time, this planet has been known among the demigods as Bharata Varsha. Formerly, it was also known as
Ilavrita Varsha.
Ilavrita Varsha. The emperor, at an early age, retired for spiritual perfection but failed to achieve success. In his next life, he took birth in the family of a good Brahmana and was known as Jada Bharata because he always remained secluded and did not talk to anyone. And later on, he was discovered as the greatest transcendentalist by King Rahugana. From his life, it is understood that transcendental endeavors or the practice of yoga never go in vain. By the grace of the Lord, the transcendentalist gets repeated opportunities for complete perfection in Krishna consciousness.
It's a very beautiful story about King Bharat, and those who want to like read a bit in detail can just like go home, Google about King Bharat, and you'll know it's one of the stories from Srimad Bhagavatam, that there was this King Bharat, and he was a very like he'd do a lot of sadhana practices and everything. And what happened is that he saw a baby deer. Its mother passed away, and he took care of that deer. And he got so attached to that deer that when he was dying, the last thought was thinking about the deer. And because of that effect, what happened? He took a birth in his next life. He became a deer. It is said that what you think about during your last time, that's what you achieve. And Krishna confirms that in Gita. So he took birth. It's a very beautiful story. He took birth as a deer, but his memory was intact. He was able to remember everything of his past life by the mercy of God. Like he knew that how he did his japa, or the kind of things, all the spiritual practices that he followed. And because of that effect, what happened? There was this little huts of different ascetics, sadhus. So he used to live around that. And when that deer died, he took birth again as Jad Bharat, that is written here. And in that lifetime also, he was able to remember everything. So he would do everything opposite of how the world operates. Like he used to do everything just opposite of it, so that his mind was he should not get very entangled or very attached to different activities. Very, very good story. You can go and like read in detail. So why exactly is it this story is mentioned here? Because it says that the spiritual assets that we develop, whether it is wisdom, whether it is devotion, whether it is tolerance, etc., etc., those never perishes away. Once we take another birth, what happens? Those virtues that we have gathered, they reawakens from whatever sadhana we have done from our previous life. We have seen in this talk also sometimes those spiritual sanskars that are there, what happens when they awaken? A person who has a lot of material views suddenly become very spiritual. And it's not like for once that he is, it's like, I'm not talking of people who has the idea of spirituality but not really practice it. I'm talking about people who have really there is an awakening in themselves, and they start leading a very simple life. People give away a lot of wealth also at times, and they start living a very simple life, going on to this path, practicing bhakti. Not that I'm encouraging you to give up, but it's just the virtues that we develop because of the devotion, devotional activities. And take an example of a hotel. When, very, very good example is, what happens is that when we are traveling and we go from destination A to destination B, we take a halt there. You might just stay in a hotel. But when we wake up in the morning after having the night spent there, what happened? Do we go back to A? Do we? There is an onward journey that we do, correct? We don't go from A again and then start B, and then again there is a rest, and again there is this whole cycle of things happening. No, there is a destination. So we go onward in our journey. It's just the same that a yogi or a person who was practicing devotional life, for some reason there was a fall down or he was not able to complete it. What happens? In the next life, he starts from B point, and then there is an onward journey. Correct? It's like waking up from sleep. You're sleeping, you're awake, and you're aware of everything, right? It's just like that. So that's what Krishna is telling here, trying to tell, that there is no fall down, even if you do a little service unto the lotus feet of Lord. There is only success. Okay. There might be some questions at the end, but there might be questions, but we'll address those at the very end. Okay. Right. 44. You want to read? Yeah, okay.
I don't have the Sanskrit. I just have the
I
translation.
you don't have, okay, I can read for you. पूर्वाभ्यासेन तेनैव ह्रियते हर्षोऽपि सः जिज्ञासुरपि योगस्य शब्दब्रह्माति वर्तते. Meaning?
By virtue of the divine consciousness of his previous life, he automatically becomes attracted to the yogic principles, even without seeking them. Such an inquisitive transcendentalist stands always above the ritualistic principles of the scripture. Purport. Advanced yogis are not very much attracted to the rituals of the scriptures, but they automatically become attracted to the yoga principles, which can elevate them to to complete Krishna consciousness, the highest yoga perfection. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 3.33.7, such disregard of Vedic rituals by the advanced transcendentalist is explained as follows.
अहोबात स्वपचो तो गरियान यज जिह्वाग्रे वर्तते नाम तुभ्यं तेपुस्तपस्ते जुहुवु सस्नुर आर्या ब्रह्मानुचूर नाम गृह्णन्ति येते.
O my Lord, persons who chant the holy names of your Lordship are far, far advanced in spiritual life, even if born in families of dog eaters. Such chanters have undoubtedly performed all kinds of austerities and sacrifices, bathed in all sacred places, and finished all scriptural studies. A famous example of this was presented by Lord Chaitanya, who described Thakura Haridasa as one of his most important disciples. Although Thakura Haridasa happened to take birth in a Muslim family, he was elevated to the post of Namacharya by Lord Chaitanya due to his rigidly attended principle of chanting 300,000 holy names of the Lord daily. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And because he chanted the holy name of the Lord constantly, it is understood that in his previous life he must have passed through all the ritualistic methods of the Vedas, known as Sabada Brahman. Unless therefore one is purified, one cannot take to the principles of Krishna consciousness or become engaged in chanting the holy name of the Lord. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. So, by the virtue of the divine consciousness of his previous life, the soul with the devotional sanskars from the present and the past life gets naturally inclined towards bhakti, towards devotion. Okay? It's like a call of God. And those who have experienced this, what happens? They always want to get more and more involved in the services that one needs to, one wants to perform more and more services towards unto the lotus feet of Krishna. Once that spirituality or the spiritual sentiments is sprouted, they nurture more and more. If that, that love, that wisdom, that is developing inside, that's what they do. And it doesn't really matter from which family one comes from, which family they took birth into. It doesn't really matter. And one example that is given here is about Thakur Haridas, that he was a Muslim by birth. But what happens? The power of chanting the name of the Lord is saying that he became one of the most elevated devotee of the Lord. That is the importance, how important it is, and how great it is to take the powerful it is basically to take the names of the Lord or even chant the holy name of the Lord, that it doesn't really matter from which background we come from. What was the name of the Prabhuji, Abhay Prabhu? What was the name of this one devotee? I'm forgetting. Muslim devotee who was in Vrindavan? Ras Khan, yes. Beautiful couplets. If one wants, you can read about him that he came to Vrindavan and how he got attracted to Lord Krishna and he started writing these beautiful couplets and poems. And because I'm just suddenly when I think about it, I start to forget about it. But there's the Pahan Shesh Pahan ho to that one Shesh Ganesh Dinesh Mahesh that Gahi Nirantar Gave Adi Anadi Anantar Anand. Yeah, Hari Bol. Very nice. So, in this basically verse is that like so many Lord Ganesh wants to, take the darshan of Krishna or Lord Shiva wants to, but it is very, very difficult for them. But the gopis, what happens? Just for a little bit of buttermilk, they make him dance. Why? Not because, because of that love exchanges that he has with his devotees. There is one more very beautiful. I don't know. It's not on top of my head. It's actually that one is more famous. It is like that. If Ras Khan is basically saying, why am I trying to focus more on that couplet? Is that Ras Khan is saying, if I have to take birth again, like I should take birth as the as a stone of Giriraj, Govardhan Parvat mountain. If I have to take birth, like I should be a bird of Vrindavan. If I have to take birth, I should be a tree of the Vrindavan. Like that, he just talks on about that. He doesn't want to leave Vrindavan at all. And he was not, we would say, in the very fundamental thing that he was not a Hindu, he was a Muslim. And how he was a very ardent devotee and never left Vrindavan. So it doesn't really matter. All this matters that how powerful is the names of the Lord, and it is important. It is like a prescription for this age. So there are like different yugas that we have, and in every yug there was a specific way to perform bhakti and to achieve God for this particular age of, which age are we in? Kali Yuga, right? So in this age, it is described. It's a prescription. Like when we go to the pharmacy, what happens? There are 50,000 medicines, but we have to like stick out our prescription, give it to the receptionist, and then they will give you the medicine based on. It's not that we can just step into a pharmacy and pick up a medicine based on the color or the packaging, if you like, right? So that's how the chanting the names of the Lord helps us getting rid of the different bad qualities that we might have anger, greed, envy, etc., etc. And how do we get rid of them? More and more we do chanting and services for the Lord. Okay? Right. Text 45. I just try to Google it. It's
Yeah, I'm able to find it.
45. Who wants to read? Those who have not read. Do you want to? Have you read? No. Ah, okay.
Can you just read the Sanskrit part?
Okay. प्रयत्नाद यता मानस्तु योगी संशुद्ध किल शिवः अनेक जन्म संसिद्धा ततो यदि परम गतन. श्री श्री पंच तत्व भगवान की जय. Okay. Yeah.
And when the yogi engages himself with sincere endeavor in making further progress, being washed upon the contaminations, then ultimately achieving perfection after many, many births of practice, he attains the supreme goal. Purport. A person born in a particularly righteous, aristocratic or sacred family becomes conscious of his favorable condition for executing yoga practice. With determination, therefore, he begins his unfinished task, and thus he completely cleanses himself of all material contaminations. When he is finally free from all contaminations, he attains the supreme perfection, Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is the perfect stage of being freed of all contaminations. This is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. After many births of executing pious activities, when one is completely freed from all contaminations and from all illusory duties, one becomes engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord.
Haribol, thank you. What the one 4 lines that I was, it kind of gets stuck in my mind, and then I understand until I see it, I'm not able to move forward. So the 4 lines that Ras Khan wrote, which is very beautiful, is that मानुष हो तो वह रस खान बसो ब्रज गोकुल गांव की ग्वारन जो पशु हो तो कहाँ पशु मेरो चरो नत नंद की धेनु मझारन पाहन हो तो वही गिर को जो धरो कर छत्र पुरंदर कारण जो खग हो तो बसेर करो मिली कालंदी कूल कदम गिदारन. And that what this means, that if by the arrangement of the providence, if I ever have to take a rebirth, what do I want? That I just want to be a Gwalpal of Gokul. If I have to take a birth it's a human life, then what it is? That I want to be a human taking birth in Vrindavan. If I have to be a Pashu, animal, it has to be a cow in the Vrindavan, right? And then Pahan ho, a stone, then it has to be like Giriraj Govardhan, part of stone. And if there is a bird, then on the Kada tree, I want to just sit there and take a bird. Like, for no matter what, I do not want to leave Vrindavan. This is one of the very beautiful couplet that I like. So in 45, what Krishna is saying, that when a yogi engages himself with sincere endeavor in making further progress, being washed of all contaminations, and ultimately achieving perfection after many births of practice, he attains the supreme goal. So it is not like to an onlooker. If I see someone and I see, oh my God, what a great devotee of the Lord, how pious a person is. To an onlooker, it might look that this all devotion he or she is doing, it's from the present life. But that's not the reality. It is, what is Krishna saying here? Anek janma samsiddho. That from many lifetimes, whatever, accumulated good spiritual wisdom a person has, that starts sprouting and growing more and more. And when it is growing more and more, by the mercy, what happens? We see that. We might think that it is just a present lifetime thing, but that's not the reality. So perfection is yoga is the result of accumulated practice of many lives. Human life is rare. We are trying to understand this, that in the human life only you can chant or take the names of the Lord. An animal cannot, right? It is very difficult. So it is, sorry, where were we? Yeah, so that is why, and from practicing since many lifetimes, a transcendentalist or a yogi becomes free from all the contaminations of the world and then achieve the final goal. Okay? I think there are only 2 more shlokas left. So, shall I finish this today or leave?
We can continue.
Yeah? Okay, so there are 2 more shlokas. We'll finish this, chapter 6, and then from chapter 7, Manaprabhu can pick up next week. Alright, 46. Yes, please.
तपस्वी योग और देखो योगी ज्ञान वियोग अपनी मातो देखा कर्म देखो व्यास और देखो योगी तस्माद योगी भरभजन. A yogi is greater than the ascetic, greater than the empiricist, and greater than the figurative worker. Therefore, O Arjun, in all circumstances be a yogi. Purpose. When we speak of a yoga, we refer to linking our consciousness to the supreme absolute truth. Such a process is named differently by various practitioners in terms of the particular method adopted. When the linking process is predominantly in fruitive activities, it is called karma yoga. When it is predominantly empirical, it is called jnana yoga. And when it is predominantly in a devotional relationship with the Supreme Lord, it is called bhakti yoga. Bhakti yoga or Krishna consciousness is the ultimate perfection of all yogas. As will be explained in the next verse, the Lord has confirmed here in the superiority of yoga, but he has not mentioned that it is better than bhakti yoga. Bhakti yoga is full spiritual knowledge and therefore nothing can excel it. Acceptance without self-knowledge is imperfect. Empiric knowledge without surrender to the Supreme Lord is also imperfect. And fruitive work without Krishna consciousness is a waste of time. Therefore, the most highly praised form of yoga performance mentioned here is Bhakti Yoga. And this is still more clearly explained in the next verse.
Very good, thank you. So, Krishna is talking about three types of, I read and I make a lot of notes here and there. So, some I have made here and some I have made in my notebook, and I'll be I refer to those a lot. So what happened is that here Krishna is saying about three kinds of people, tapasvi, jnani and karmi, and he'll expand more on this and tries to establish that who is superior to all of this. So what happens? That a tapasvi is who? An ascetic, we see. What do you think? Who do you think is a tapasvi is? One who lives a very austere life. He makes some changes to his environment, maybe live in like a little bit of isolation, and then he practices austerities of life like that. So that's a tapasvi, that he refrains from different sensual pleasures and is not really interested in the accumulation of the material wealth, and also aim for salvation, mukti. Right? So that is one kind of person. The other is jnani, a person of learning, who's always actively engages in what? Cultivation of knowledge for them. So a tapasvi, a jnani, and a karmi. What happens? A karmi is someone who like perform a lot of Vedic rituals for maybe attaining XYZ wishes that one might have. Like a person may do a lot of puja and part in a lot of rituals to attain some sort of wealth for them, to get rid of certain difficulties that they are facing in their life. So there are three kinds of people, and then Krishna is telling that the yogi is superior to all of them. And what is the reason? Reason is very simple. That the goal of all three people, who are the three people? Karmi, yes. What is the goal of all these people? That they want to get rid of certain things. They want to achieve things still on the plane of bodily conception. That I want this particular thing. I want a lot of knowledge. I want a lot of wealth. I want salvation. But yogi is what? He's not striving for all of this. He is doing whatever he is doing for the pleasure of the Lord. For the pleasure of the Lord, and that is why whatever accomplishment he makes on this, whether in this plane or whatever, it's all superior to all of these people. Because even if a little effort he is doing for Krishna. Okay? And that is what Krishna is establishing here. Right. 47. No, if you want to add at the end anything. because this is the last shloka of 6. So, yeah. Okay. Who wants to read? Don't you want to read?
Can I read?
Yes. Yes,
I need
please.
the Bhagavad Gita. Which one? 47, yeah?
47, yes. You were there when.
No. Okay. The Sanskrit is not there.
English. Whose book is this? I used to really think that you're joking. For some reason. That you're like, oh, Sanskrit is not there. I was like, maybe, I don't know.
It's learner's edition. No Sanskrit.
Very, very nice. Very good.
But as it is though.
As it is. When you read the meaning and the purport, I can figure out that, it's the same, it's the same book. Alright.
Yoginamapi sarvasham magatenam taratmanam shatavan vajate yomam samyutta tamo mataham. Translation. And all of the yogis, the one with great faith who always abides in me, thinks of me within himself and renders transcendental loving service to me. He is the most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. That is my opinion. Purport? Should I also read the
Yeah,
purport?
yes, please.
So, the word bhajate is significant here. Bhajate has its root in the verb bhaj, which is used where there is need of service. The English word worship cannot be used in the same sense as bhaj. Worship means to adore or to show respect and honor to the worthy one. But service with love and faith is especially meant for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One can avoid worshipping a respectable man or a demigod and may be called discourteous. But one cannot avoid serving the Supreme Lord without being thoroughly content. Every living entity is part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and thus every living entity is indeed intended to serve the Supreme Lord by his own constitution. Failing to do this, he falls down. The Bhagavatam 11.5.3 confirms this as follows. Yesham Purusham Sat Atma Prabhavan Ishvaram Nabhajanti Avagyanti Stanat Brastad Patanti Adaha. Anyone who does not render service and neglects his duty unto the primeval Lord, who is the source of all living entities, will certainly fall down from his constitutional position. In this verse also the word bhajanti is used. Therefore, bhajanti is applicable to the Supreme Lord only, whereas the word worship can be applied to demigods or to any other common living entity. The word avajananti, used in this verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, is also found in the Bhagavad Gita. Avanyanti mam mugdha, only the fools and rascals deride the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna. Such fools take it upon themselves to write commentaries on the Bhagavad Gita without an attitude of service to the Lord. Consequently, they cannot properly distinguish between the word bhajanti and the word worship. The culmination of all kinds of yoga practices lies in bhakti yoga. All other yogas are but means to come to the point of bhakti in bhakti yoga. Yoga actually means bhakti yoga. All other yogas are progressions towards the destination of bhakti yoga. From the beginning of karma yoga to the end of bhakti yoga is a long way to self-realization. Karma yoga without fruitive results is the beginning of this path. When karma yoga increases in knowledge and renunciation, the stage is called yajna yoga. When yajna yoga increases in meditation on the super soul by different physical processes and the mind is on him, it is called Ashtanga yoga.
Ashtanga.
Ashtanga yoga. And when one surpasses the Ashtanga yoga and comes to the point of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, it is called Bhakti yoga, the culmination. Actually, Bhakti yoga is the ultimate goal. But to analyze Bhakti yoga minutely, one has to understand these other yogas. The yogi who is progressing is therefore on the true path of eternal God fortune.
One who sticks to a particular point and does not make further progress is called by that particular name Karma Yogi, Yagna Yogi, or Dhyana Yogi, Raja Yogi, Hatha Yogi, etc. If one is fortunate enough to come to the point of Bhakti Yoga, it is to be understood that he has surpassed all other yogas. Therefore, to become Krishna conscious is the highest stage of yoga. Just as when we speak of Himalayan, we refer to world's highest mountains, of which the highest peak, Mount Everest, is considered to be the culmination. It is by great fortune that one comes to Krishna consciousness on the path of Bhakti Yoga to become well situated according to the Vedic direction. The ideal yogi concentrates his attention on Krishna, who is called Shamasundara, who is as beautifully colored as a cloud, whose lotus-like face is as effulgent as the sun, whose dress is brilliant with jewels, and whose body is flower-garlanded, illuminating all sides in his gorgeous lustres, which is called the Brahma Jyotir. He incarnates in different forms such as Rama, Narasimha, Varaha, and Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he descends like a human being as the son of Mother Yashoda. And he is known as Krishna, Govinda, and Vasudeva. He is the perfect child, husband, friend, and master, and he is full with all opulences and transcendental qualities. If one remains fully conscious of these features of the Lord, he is called the highest yogi. This stage of highest perfection in yoga can be attained only by Bhakti Yoga, as it is confirmed in all Vedic literature. Yasya Deva Para Bhaktir, Yata Deve Tata Guru, Tashyate Katita Hi Artaha, Prakashante Mahatmanaha. Only unto those great souls who have implicit faith in both the Lord and the spiritual master are all the imports of Vedic knowledge automatically revealed. Bhaktir Asha Bhajanam Tad Hyamutropadi Naira Shanamusmin Manha Kalpanam Etat Eva Naiskaryam. Bhakti means devotional service to the Lord, which is free from desire for material profit, either in this life or in next. Devoid of such inclinations, one should fully absorb the mind in the Supreme. This is the purpose of Naiskaryam. These are some of the means and performance of Bhakti, or Krishna consciousness, the highest perfectional stage of the yoga system. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 6th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam Gita in the matter of Dhyana Yoga.
Jai, thank you. Thank you for ending this chapter. Very, very nice. So, there are some few points that I was writing and I would like to discuss about this. So, first question is, welcome who have just joined. My first question is, we are just discussing a lot like yogis, yoga. What is yoga? Not you, not these people. Because whenever I come this question I ask, this is the chapter, this chapter is all about that. What do you mean, what do you think yoga is? It's time to jog your brain. Laura, you want to go? Or want to?
Can I say?
Yeah.
Oh, yoga means connect.
To connect.
Literally.
To link. Link with whom? Krishna. God. So that's what, like, for some of the people I see, they're entering and they're bringing few things, like they're bringing flowers, they're bringing some condiments like milk, whatever. Why are they doing this? The deities they are sitting there, will they say thank you? No. If suddenly they say thank you, you might be startled. Okay, so no, they're not saying thank you. They're not doing. What business do we have bringing such things? Because that's the exact position that we have as a soul. We are the servants of the Lord, and for some reason we are here, and we are trying to rekindle that relationship with God. That's the purpose of a human life. And that's what? Because we come from India, and it's given very naturally to us, we have little, we don't really understand the importance of it, is what I'm trying to say here. We don't really understand the importance of it. But that's what it is. Like if you sit with your grandmother, even she will have grandfather, she'll have more wisdom for you. Even if, like, in terms of the, now we want salvation. What do you mean? But that's what, and it's not like salvation we want. That's the goal of human life, to attain, to rekindle the original relationship that we have with God as a soul. Okay? So in this verse, Krishna talked about yogis, but in yogi also there are different kind of yogis. For example, karma yogi. Karma we are doing, but whatever, like for example, if somebody is getting paid, and from his or her salary, a chunk of his salary, a person uses for the service of anyone, humankind, service of the Lord, basically, because we are sitting in the temple discussing Gita, uses that money. What does it become? Yoga. He is utilizing his effort, the fruit of his effort, for the service of the Lord. Okay, so it becomes yogis, and then karma yogi. Then there is bhakti yogi who utilizes all, like, gives all his life to the service of the Lord. You will see a lot of people, like, how this does this, even institution is running because somebody has dedicated his life trying to give us the knowledge of the Vedas, trying to make us read the scriptures, establishing even the temple that we are seeing at the altar. A lot of effort has been put into, even to look how it is. Why do people do that? Bhakti. Some people, they come and go, people live entire life in the temple trying to serve. So that's a service. So it's a bhakti yoga that they have given their life to Krishna. So in different ways one may connect based on the basis of their circumstances, the place, situation, etc. So what Krishna is saying, that this particular verse, what is it doing? It is putting rest to the debate about which form of yoga is the highest. Krishna is just putting that to rest, and he declares that bhakti yoga is the highest, and even superior to what? The people who are like sitting in some remote areas of Himalaya doing some sort of practicing ascetic life. Even it is more advanced than that, and it is such a power that binds God and makes him a slave of his devotees. And there is this verse that is there in the Bhagavatam, which says, Aham bhakta paradhino yasvan vatantara ivadvija sadhu bhir grihastha hridayo bhakta jana priyaha. 9.4.63. Although I am supremely independent, yet I became enslaved by my devotees. They conquer my heart, and what to speak of my devotees? Even the devotees of my devotees are very dear to me. And that is why the Bhakti Yoga possesses the power of divine love and is most dear to God. Right? In this, it is very, very hard to, if somebody gives something, just think it is very hard to give someone something. Like if I have to, like, can you please donate something for this particular cause? It's very, very difficult for a person in today's age to take out the wallet and give a penny to a particular cause. So imagine someone trying to do a lot of service for a particular community, right? So what is basically we are doing in Bhakti Yoga is we are doing a lot of service and trying to utilize our senses in the service of the Lord. That is the way to go as per our scriptures, because it is very, very difficult to sit in isolation and practice meditation. And what do we do here? We do mantra meditation here. We chant the holy name of the Lord. So what happens is that it is very, very hard to sit. Our attention span has gone very down. Every time we see that there is this study that some news or study comes and gives us this conclusion. So imagine if I like ask you to sit for 5 minutes. Is it possible to like sit and not think about anything else? Especially when we are trying to focus on a mantra, our mind will like crop. It does crop up so many things that it's going on different direction. So what do? We try to like utilize our tongue to chant the name of the Lord, to ears to hear the name of the Lord, eyes to see the beautiful deities that are there, to nose to smell the flowers that we offer, especially during Aarti, legs that you all have literally walked from somewhere on a Friday. You could have done anything else, but you all took some effort to come to the temple to find that solace. So what are you doing? You're using different sense organs to do some service. This is also a service that we are doing, right? So that's what Krishna is telling. And then also in this verse, Shri Krishna has used the word bhaja. And it is said, it's clearly written here, that it means worship. Worship cannot be used in the same sense as bhaj, because root word bhaj means to serve, and it is far more significant word for devotion than worship. And worship means to adore. We read in the purport. So Krishna is talking about not those who merely adore him, but those who serve him lovingly. Okay, and in this, that's why another way of understanding this verse is that Bhakti Yoga provides the closest and the most complete realization of God, and that's how Krishna closes it. There was this. If I have to sum this chapter in like 5 points, I'm trying to find it. I took one. The 5 points that Krishna talks about, like the the true qualities, the 5 qualities of yogi he touches in this. I summed it up. One is that he's
that is 18.42. That is of Brahmanas.
I'll try to search, because I would like to close this chapter with those 5 points. Preparation. Maybe I might just share it in the group, but that's what the chapter 6 is about. I am forgetting it. So in this chapter, basically from 6.10 to 6.31, Krishna has talked about qualities of a yogi, a person who wants to practice, go onto this path. What are the qualities? Like Arjun is telling that his mind is he's not able to focus. It wavers a lot, just like us. So how do we control that? And that's what Krishna is talking about. Like from 6.10 to 6.31, this is what he has talked about. Okay. Sorry. So Panch Tattva Bhagwan ki jai, Jagat Srila Prabhupada ki jai. I'll open the floor for the questions. If you have any questions, I'll try to answer. Otherwise, we have a senior devotee. I think I'm taking the liberty to take his name. So, do you have any questions? I'm not still.
Takura Haridasa chanted 200,000 the names of the Holy Lord. Right, mantra. So the holy name is 12 times in the mantra.
192 rounds every day.
192.
192 rounds. We chant 16, he chanted 192. Yeah. 22 hours every day.
Yeah. Sure. Are there any more questions? Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. No? So, we generally have Kirtan on Fridays, which is led by Ishwar Puri Prabhuji. So, those who want to relish, they can stay back, no force. Alright? Thank you so much for joining. And if I have made any mistake, I would like to seek your forgiveness. It's a very back and forth thing, like we try to learn together. I'm so not qualified to like sit here and talk about it. But it's one of the favorite book that I've ever read. And I would, if you still want, no pressure, you can just contact Prabhuji, okay, for the copy. All right. Thank you, Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna.
Shama Mataji ki.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
मुझे वाला प्लीज रिचार्ज खाना है आपको लगा था ना बाद में नहीं
मैंने बोला
क्या करेंगे उसका बाप वही लगा